Hi everyone, I'm Richard Boyd from Energetics Institute and welcome back to our fourth segment in surviving the lockdown. This segment is about a little known survival strategy which is about going towards the threat and trying to befriend it. So it's a form of compulsive or compulsed social engagement, which is to go towards an object and seek safety from it, which typically we do as humans in teams, in groups, in what you'd call herd safety, like in a herd of animals. But what we know is that apart from the fight or flight system of the brain, we also have a large part of the brain which is about social engagement. And how it works is that we as social animals, part of our safety making and safety seeking is predicated on the fact that once we find personal safety within ourselves, the impulse we have is to move towards the herd or towards others because there's safety in the herd, there's safety in numbers. So for some people, their strategy that they develop from a young age when they come under threat is to actually have an impulse to move towards others. In some cases, they'll move actually towards the threat, the predator, the person in this case that may be representing the threat and try and befriend them. So it's a risky strategy because moving towards that which threatens you could have a negative consequence. But as we know, some people do this. So what happens for these people is that in times like in the lockdown, they will have impulses to want to go out and connect with other people. So this is the normal part of the social engagement system. It's partly, the impulses from it are partly mediated by the vagal nerve system that connects to the autonomic nervous system, and together with the other parts of the brain, give the impulse for a person to move towards others for safety. So in lockdown, this can be problematic. Some people in lockdown will not feel safe personally and will have impulses to want to connect to others. They may actually do this by going online and wanting to connect with people because they can't do it face to face. Others will do it through social media, maybe with FaceTime, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, some of these technologies which give not just an audio presence, but a visual presence, because that increases the experience of connection. But still others may find that they go towards people who are not healthy for them. So even though they may represent within themselves that this person is a threat, they may still feel like I'm still going to contact them and seek contact. In fact, some people like this will seek out as their mate, as the person they wish to have a relationship with, a person who they would describe as a protector, someone that gives safety making to them through being a powerful presence. But in fact, they may actually go towards someone who is more dangerous, someone who is a bit toxic, someone who perhaps is threatening of violence or is violent or potentially can be emotionally and mentally abusive. So what happens is that when they're put under stress, when they're put under threat, that they will still try and reconnect with this person. You see this in domestic violence situations where sometimes the victim basically, after experienced violence, makes an excuse and goes, if only I try harder, then maybe they won't hurt me anymore. And they go back into the same situation again. It's similar to that. In lockdown though, what people may do is they may actually, if they have this strategy, they may get impulses to break the isolation and actually go to someone else's house and take the risk of the coronavirus, and they will still want to connect face to face. So they may not have good boundaries. They may not have good impulse regulation. So this type of person is needing to go into the herd, go into groups, go into family, go into the related partner, or to establish something similar as part of their safety making. the impulse to do so comes just the same way as someone who gets an impulse to fight, someone who may get an impulse to flight, someone who has an impulse to freeze. The impulse happens in the same way, but it's governed by other systems of the body and mind. So this is the fourth strategy, and these people will often be of a more caretaking nature with other people. They'll often be people pleasers. They'll often be very much helpers of other people because they tend to build emotional currency and relationship through giving and doing for others. Okay, so that's the four strategies. So we've covered them in the last 4 sessions, and they are fight, flight, freeze and withdrawal, and then the caretaking strategy, which is this last one. So they represent the primary approaches that people will tend to start to feel impulses for because with the unseen threat of Covid-19, the coronavirus, people will find that because the news, the information online is all about threat, is always about risk, that people will be affected psychologically about how they feel safe within themselves and in the world. In future sessions, we're going to talk more about some of the other dynamics that go on for people, regardless of what their defensive strategy is that they employ when they're under threat. So for now, I'll say goodbye, and I look forward to hearing and seeing you all again in the next instalment of Surviving the Lockdown. Thank you for now. Bye.